Xi Jinping tries to secure an unprecedented third five-year term in power. So what does this mean for the rest of the world? What does this mean for a possible invasion of Taiwan? For more, let's welcome back in senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation and former Deputy National Security Advisor Victoria Coates back with us. Victoria, so nice to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing very well. This all kicked off yesterday in Beijing. President Xi, if he does remain on as the leader of China, he would become the most powerful Chinese leader. This, according to the Wall Street Journal, since Mao. What do you make of what he's trying to do in China right now?
Yeah, it's really remarkable, Rob. He's going on for this unprecedented third term. And I think the critical thing for your viewers to realize is China is not 100 feet high. They're having really severe problems. The zero COVID policy is extremely unpopular. They have a financial sector problem. And then most importantly, they have a critical demographic problem. Their population is slated to shrink for the first time next year. And they are going to start losing productive workers at a remarkable rate. So Xi is able to preside over what appears to be a historic expansion of the Chinese economy, but they've got some real storm clouds on the horizon.
Okay, a couple quick ones. Why are they allowing this to happen? It would be like if, an American president, no president has served more than 2 consecutive terms since FDR. And then Congress went in and said, hey, listen, 2 terms is the limit. It was a precedent first established by George Washington. This has been the precedent since Mao in communist China. Why is President Xi able to even entertain this possibility?
Well, you may have noticed they're not exactly a Jeffersonian democracy.
That's a good point.
Over there in the People's Republic. And so, he has been able to consolidate power as an authoritarian, and he has had this extraordinary expansion of the Chinese economy under his rule. And the sort of line has been that the Chinese people are not capable of democracy and that they will trade stability for economic expansion. But all they have to do is look across the Straits of Taiwan, and you can see the Chinese people are perfectly capable of democracy. So I wonder if this is actually going to sit very well with a population that's already pretty restive under the no COVID rule.
Yeah, and we see what's going on in Russia. 1 million Russian citizens have fled the country since Vladimir Putin said that he needs 300,000 troops to fight in Ukraine. Nobody wants a part of that. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here, and that's Taiwan. If President Xi decides to invade Taiwan, it was going to happen after this conference happening this week. Do you think that's a possibility?
It's always a possibility, and especially if the troubles internally are worse than we think they are, he may need to go on a little adventure abroad, just like Putin did in Ukraine, to try to consolidate his own position. So I think it's something we need to watch extremely closely. It's why I wish President Biden was much more decisive in Ukraine in terms of what he's doing to actually defeat Vladimir Putin, not just sort of nibble around the edges, and send Xi a very clear message that the United States is not going to tolerate nonsense in Taiwan.
We've heard for the first time maybe since 1962, when JFK was president, the Cuban Missile Crisis, we've heard a lot about nuclear weapons in Russia. A week ago, Joe Biden made those now infamous comments, nuclear Armageddon. Why isn't more being done on the part of the administration to de-escalate this war, which is now in month number 8 in Ukraine?
No, it's really quite bizarre to have the President of the United States musing about the end of the world at a fundraiser into an open mic, apparently. If they seriously believe that Putin may use nuclear weapons in Ukraine, he should be in the tank or the Situation Room talking to the seasoned professionals whose job it is to prepare for these sorts of things, not, talking to folks at a fundraiser. It's ridiculous. Putin put nukes on the table in the first week of what you rightly point out is now an 8-month war in Ukraine. So we should be extremely prepared at this point. And with the knowledge that Russian military doctrine allows for the use of nuclear weapons if they feel their sovereign territory is being attacked. And Putin cutely, annexed parts of Ukraine, which he now claims is sovereign Russian territory, so he can invoke that doctrine. We have to be prepared.
What do you make of this notion that, okay, President Xi wins this week, he's president for another 5 years, he invades Taiwan, at the very same time Vladimir Putin decides to use aggressive tactical nuclear weapons on the ground in Ukraine to destabilize the globe on 2 different fronts?
Yeah, that is a scenario we absolutely haven't faced since World War II, when we also had a theater in Europe, obviously, and a theater in the Pacific. And so, I mean, I hope that the president and the administration are prepared for this. You know, we have systemic economic weakness across the globe that's going to further complicate the situation. You know, our own upcoming elections. This is a very, very dicey period, and you know, the United States leadership is irreplaceable
Yeah.
in these kinds of scenarios, and we have to be prepared.
All right, Victoria Coates, we appreciate you being back on with us. So good to see you. Thank you.